Money doesn't vanish. It escapes from people who think saving is optional and inflation is a surprise guest. 1. The inflation-proof mindset shift. Hack: most people fight inflation like they fight gravity, emotionally, loudly, and with zero actual strategy. But here's the truth: successful people learn early. Inflation isn't an enemy, it's a physics rule. You don't negotiate with it, you build around it. The average person thinks saving is about cutting lattes. The wealthy see it as reallocating energy from things that die in value to things that multiply. That's the mindset shift. Start by tracking what you actually value, not what you think you value. Most people save nothing because they spend unconsciously. You're not overspending because life is expensive. You're overspending because you haven't told your money where to go. And here's the part no one likes. Inflation doesn't destroy disciplined savers. It destroys passive ones. When you save with intention, even tiny amounts, you stop thinking in dollars and start thinking in velocity. Shift from "how do I save more" to "how do I make every dollar behave like an employee?" That single mental flip is how normal people survive inflation and how extraordinary people outrun it. 2. The automate or stay broke forever. Hack: most people rely on willpower to save money, which is basically the financial equivalent of expecting a paper airplane to reach Mars. It won't. Not because you're weak, but because the human brain wasn't designed to win daily battles against impulse. You automate so you don't have to negotiate with yourself every morning. Here's the real secret. People at the top understand systems beat motivation every single time. They automate their investments, automate their savings, automate their bills, not because they're lazy, but because they know decision fatigue quietly kills financial growth. When your money moves before you can touch it, you stop being the bottleneck in your own progress. Start with something embarrassingly small. 1 to 5% of your income routed directly into an investment or savings account the moment your paycheck hits. You'll barely feel it, but over time, it compounds like crazy. Meanwhile, your future self quietly becomes someone people call lucky. That's the hack. Make saving the default, not the goal. Automate the behavior you want, and you become the person everyone assumes has superhuman discipline. Spoiler, it's just a well-designed system. 3. The invisible spending leak. Hack: most people think inflation is the villain, but the real threat is the silent drain in your daily decisions. The tiny leaks you swear don't count. The wealthy treat every untracked expense like a software bug. Small, irritating, but capable of crashing the entire system if ignored. You don't fix inflation. You fix the way your money evaporates without your permission. Pull up your last 30 days of transactions. You'll see a pattern, a cluster of mindless micro-purchases that feel harmless but behave like termites. A $7 snack here, a random subscription there, a digital impulse click at 11:47 p.m. One by one, they're nothing. Together, they outperform inflation in destruction speed. Here's the hack. Categorize everything into fuel or friction. Fuel grows your life. Friction drains it. Cut friction ruthlessly. Optimize fuel intentionally. You're not supposed to be perfect, you're supposed to be aware. Because once you see where the leaks are, inflation stops being the monster under the bed and starts being just another metric you plan around. 4. The buy the skill, not the thing. Hack: inflation punishes consumers but rewards people who invest in capability. That's why successful people buy tools, training, systems, not momentary flexes. Every dollar you spend either feeds a craving or expands your capacity. Only one of those compounds. Think about it. Most people buy expensive tech, then use 4% of its potential. High earners flip the equation. They invest in learning the skill first, then buy the tool that multiplies it. That's why they never panic when prices rise. Their skills inflate faster than the currency does. The hack is simple. Before you buy something, ask, does this increase what I can do or just what I own? If it increases capability, negotiation, automation, coding, design, communication, analysis, it's inflation-proof. If it just increases comfort, convenience, or aesthetics, inflation eats it alive. Long-term, skills outperform savings. Skills become savings, and eventually, they become freedom. 5. The earn in the future, spend in the past. Hack: here's the uncomfortable truth. Inflation punishes people who live in the present tense. Most people earn today's money and spend it on yesterday's desires. a guaranteed recipe for financial drag. People who stay ahead do the opposite. They earn using tomorrow's skills, tomorrow's tools, tomorrow's industries, and spend only on what makes their future cheaper, not darker. Think of money like time travel. Every dollar has a timestamp. Most people operate on delay. They upgrade their phone faster than they upgrade their earning ability. That mismatch is where inflation destroys them. The solution is counterintuitive. Invest your time acquiring high-value skills before you need them. When the world shifts, you're already positioned. This is how people who start with nothing suddenly sprint ahead. They stop reacting to the economy and start predicting where value is heading. They earn where money is going, not where it's been. Inflation isn't a threat when your income comes from industries that rise faster than prices. It's only a threat when your growth lags behind reality. 6. The outsmart your future self. Hack. Most people think discipline is about being strong. Wrong. Discipline is about admitting you're weak and designing your environment so you can't sabotage yourself. High achievers don't rely on superhuman willpower. They rely on rigged conditions. They make it easier to do the right thing than the stupid thing. This hack is simple. Remove the option to make bad financial decisions in moments of boredom, stress, or ego. Hide your credit card in another room. Delete one-click ordering. Turn off buy now, pay later, like you're disabling a bomb. And set a 24-hour rule for any purchase above $50, because nothing kills impulsive spending faster than letting your brain reboot. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to engineer a system where your future self doesn't wake up thinking, "Why did past me think I needed a $220 mood lamp?" Rig the game. Then win it. 7. The inflation-proof purchase timing. Hack. Here's what almost nobody understands. Timing your purchases saves more money than cutting them. The wealthy don't buy things when they want them. They buy when the price curve is in their favor. They treat purchasing like strategy, not impulse. There are predictable cycles. Tech drops after product launches, clothes drop after seasonal resets, travel drops midweek or off-season, tools drop around major sales cycles, cars depreciate the moment someone else drives them off the lot. Most people pay maximum price because they buy emotionally and immediately. High performers wait for value to line up with timing, then strike fast. You're not saving pennies. You're shaving off inflation's entire impact by refusing to buy at peak hype. The hack isn't don't buy things, it's don't buy them at stupid times. When you sync timing with value, inflation stops being a cost and becomes a discount opportunity. 8. The cut what doesn't scale. Hack. Here's the harsh truth. The average person spends most of their money on things that don't scale, items that give a momentary hit of satisfaction and zero long-term payoff. The wealthy survive inflation because they ruthlessly eliminate anything that doesn't scale into the future with them. This is the rule. If it doesn't grow with you, it shouldn't go with you. That means cutting spending that stays stuck while you're trying to rise. Overpriced habits, ego purchases, low-value subscriptions, lifestyle upgrades that impress nobody long-term. Inflation destroys these first because they have no growth engine. Successful people ask one question before spending: does this purchase help future me more than it entertains present me? If the answer is no, it gets deleted. Fast. This isn't minimalism, it's efficiency. You're clearing financial friction so momentum can actually build. And when you eliminate what doesn't scale, your savings rate skyrockets without feeling like sacrifice. 9. The recession-proof income stream. Hack. Here's the real plot twist. Inflation hurts people with one income stream the same way a single point of failure destroys a rocket. When one engine dies, the whole mission burns. Wealthy people solve this by building income redundancy, not by hustling 24/7, but by creating systems that earn even when they don't. This isn't about chasing 50 side gigs like a caffeinated squirrel. It's about designing one or two scalable streams that survive economic chaos. Digital skills, automated stores, consulting, licensing, renting assets, monetizing knowledge, or building small online systems that outlive your weekly effort. When you rely on one paycheck, inflation owns you. When your money has multiple routes into your life, inflation becomes background noise. You don't need 7 incomes. You need one extra source that isn't tied to your clock. That's how people go from barely keeping up to inflation doesn't scare me anymore. 10. The save in percentages, not emotions. Hack. Here's the mistake 90% of people make. They save whatever amount feels right. That's like launching a rocket using vibes instead of math. The wealthy never save emotional numbers, they save percentages. Why? Because percentages scale automatically with income. If you save 10%, 20%, or 30%, it adjusts upward without you having to think. That's how people who once made $2,000 a month end up saving more than people who make 5 times that. Inflation affects fixed numbers. Percentages evolve with you. Pick a percentage and treat it like a non-negotiable tax you pay to your future self. You'll never notice the pain, but you will notice the compounding. And here's the secret kicker. Once you get used to saving 10%, you won't stop there. Your brain adapts. Your lifestyle doesn't even notice. That's how wealth builds quietly, while everyone else keeps meaning to save more next month. 11. The split your money into missions. Hack. Most people save into one giant miscellaneous hope bucket where money goes to die. Successful people never do that. They split their money into missions. Each dollar has a job, a purpose, and a deadline. Think of your finances like a startup. Nothing is allowed to just sit around. You have a mission for investments, a mission for savings, a mission for emergencies, a mission for future opportunities, a mission for experimentation, a mission for fun, because burnout is expensive. When money has a mission, you stop confusing progress with luck. You know exactly where your growth is coming from. This also protects your savings from emotional spending, because you're not taking from your savings, you're sabotaging a mission, and your brain won't allow that. This is how high performers think, not in piles, but in purpose. That's why they have financial clarity while everyone else has financial chaos. 12. The opportunity. Float. Hack. Here's something most people never realize. Inflation punishes cash but rewards opportunity. Wealthy individuals always keep a small pool of money untouched, not for emergencies, not for bills, but strictly for opportunities. They treat it like rocket fuel waiting for ignition. Whenever a discounted asset appears, a collaboration pops up, a skill course drops in price, or a micro-investment window opens, they strike instantly. Regular people miss out because they're broke and surprised. High performers aren't richer, they're prepared. This opportunity float doesn't need to be huge. Even $5,200 a month builds a war chest over time. Inflation can't beat you if you're consistently buying value at a discount while everyone else is reacting emotionally to rising prices. Money grows when it has the freedom to move fast. That's how you stop being the last person to the party and start being the one who gets invited first. 13. The hedge with what you already use. Hack. Most people think hedging against inflation means becoming a Wall Street wizard. Wrong. You can hedge with the things you already buy, use, and understand. Wealthy people hedge practically, not academically. If you use tech daily, invest in tech. If you rely on tools, invest in companies that produce the tools. If you're always in transportation, hedge with mobility assets. If you're obsessed with learning, invest in digital knowledge products. This isn't play investor, it's buy stakes in the world you already fund. People complain about rising prices without realizing they could be partial owners of the industries raising them. That's how inflation stops being a predator and becomes a paycheck. You don't beat inflation by avoiding it. You beat it by owning the machines that create it. 14. The live slightly behind your income. Hack. Here's the part almost nobody will like. The wealthy rarely live at 100% of their income level. They live at 70–85% until their income scales. That gap, that quiet margin, is where wealth is born. Inflation destroys people who upgrade their lifestyle the moment they touch new money. It never touches those who upgrade after the money stabilizes. High performers treat lifestyle like software. Test it, optimize it, upgrade it only when stable. Most people treat lifestyle like fireworks, loud, fast, impulsive, impressive for 5 seconds. Living behind your income doesn't mean living poorly. It means living strategically. You enjoy life at level 7 while you earn at level 10, and by the time you're living at level 10, you're earning at level 20. That's how people seem mysteriously stable while everyone else is panicking over rising costs. 15. The leverage-free growth. Hack inflation creates psychological pressure that pushes people into debt traps disguised as shortcuts. But here's the billionaire mindset. Never use leverage for things that don't produce income. Period. Most people use debt to accelerate lifestyle. High performers use discipline to accelerate assets and avoid consumer debt like it's radioactive. Inflation already steals enough. You don't need interest working as its accomplice. Leverage-free growth is slow, boring, and brutally consistent, but it's the only method that keeps you from being financially fragile. When inflation spikes, debt becomes heavier. When the economy shifts, payments stay the same. When stress rises, debt becomes a prison. Growing without leverage means you stay dangerous. No bills controlling your mood, no interest draining your momentum, no panic every time the market hiccups, no lifestyle chained to monthly payments. Freedom isn't about making more money. It's about removing the things that can take it away. 16. The think in decades, act in days. Hack. Most people plan their finances like they plan their meals. Last minute, emotionally, and usually wrong. High performers take the opposite approach. They think in decades, but act in tiny daily moves. That creates a compounding effect that inflation simply cannot keep up with. When you zoom out 10-20 years, inflation becomes a background variable. But when you zoom into daily habits, every action becomes a micro-investment. Reading 10 pages, learning one new skill, saving 1%, improving a system by 1%. These aren't small actions, they're future shockwaves. The average person expects big results from a burst of motivation. Those who outrun inflation expect big results from predictable, boring consistency. Their money doesn't grow because they're smarter. It grows because their timeline is longer and their daily inputs are smaller but relentless. Inflation can't beat someone who's building a 20-year engine one day at a time. 17. The turn savings into speed. Hack. Saving money for the sake of saving is a rookie mistake. Saving money to accelerate your next move is the pro-level strategy. High performers don't save for security. They save for speed. Speed to invest, speed to pivot, speed to escape a dead-end job, speed to seize the rare opportunities others can't afford to touch. Most people think savings are a safety cushion. Successful people see savings as a launch pad. Inflation punishes the stagnant, but it rewards the fast. When you have capital ready, you move before the market, before the news cycle, before the crowd even understands what's happening. Your savings aren't there to make you feel safe. They're there to make you dangerous, financially, strategically, and opportunistically. 18. The become the person inflation can't touch. Hack. Grand finale. Here's the final truth most people avoid. The greatest protection against inflation is becoming someone inflation can't afford to beat. Someone whose skills rise faster than prices. Someone whose mind compounds faster. Then the economy shifts. Someone whose value is independent of market chaos. When you become that person, adaptable, curious, skilled, relentless, inflation becomes noise. Your income grows because you grow. Your opportunities expand because you expand. And your money multiplies because you've stopped thinking like a consumer and started thinking like a builder. Inflation is only scary when you're standing still. The moment you evolve, even slightly, it can't catch you. So which of these hacks hits you hardest? And which one will you actually use? Tell me in the comments which financial glitch you're fixing first.